and welcome to Our Kids, brought to you by the Jefferson County Public Schools. I'm Ballard High School correspondent Michaela Young. Welcome to the new year. We have some great stories for you this January. Students showing empathy, giving back to their community, and delving more deeply into their lessons. Plus, we have these student stories.
Hey, I'm Fern Creek correspondent Cash Yergin, and here we're at Newburgh Middle School where kids are getting hands-on learning with a brand new STEM program.
Musical harmony was made at Orchestra Palooza. I'm Ballard correspondent Carly Doming, and I'll have the story.
Students at the J. Graham Brown School hosted a mock refugee camp. It was a lesson in empathy and compassion.
This is the therapy tent. We offer therapists who are available for any refugees who want to come talk. We offer a safe place where people aren't subjected to any form of abuse or judgment.
What's a refugee?
A refugee is somebody that has to leave their homes because there's been a lot of wars.
We are at Peace Park, which is directly across the street from Brown. What's happening today is the culminating event of our project-based learning segment with our 8th grade students on refugees. So my 8th grade students, are hosting a refugee camp for the Brown School. Each group of students was in charge of a different service or good that a real refugee camp would provide to refugees. So they were responsible for researching the different areas, and then they have a challenge that they are supposed to teach the students who come about that tent so that it's a learning experience for everybody.
We're teaching kids how it's hard for refugee camps, especially to get education.
Coming into the camp, refugees have often endured a ton of very traumatic experiences. The reason that refugees come to camps in the first place is because of violence in their homes, and they often have PTSD because they've been through such traumatic things, like seeing war right in front of them.
It's going to probably look like they're running around crazy, but they're actually walking around from tent to tent, learning about the refugee experience.
So it's helping us understand the hardships and putting ourselves in the refugee's shoes, and we're getting a better understanding of what they go through on a daily basis.
And for the little kids, we have little boxes with emotions written on them, and we ask them a set of questions, and they answer with the cards how it makes them feel.
This was designed to build empathy in my students, so I really want my students to be reflective learners who can see a refugee or hear about refugees in Louisville and really identify with their experience and have compassion and empathy for what they've gone through and what they're doing.
We are the Brown School!
We were walking down there, we'd filled the jugs up here, and then we walked down there to simulate what's going on and what families have to go through every day in Africa. They have to walk down to the river and come back, and they have to carry much more than we do for longer times.
We're raising money and awareness for a well that we're building in South Sudan by a school, just to so that the kids that go to that school and their families can get fresh water, fresh clean water. And we have set up a donation site on H2O for Life.
It's really hard for them to live with the stuff that they've gone through, war sometimes, and just having to deal with that in their mind. Sometimes their parents are dead, or sometimes their whole entire family is gone.
We've been working on this project for quite a while. It's been roughly 2 months, and it's changed my views on a lot of the world and our societies.
This is a great example of deeper learning because my students had to exhibit a lot of independence in getting this going. They had to look at multiple sources of information. They had to compile and synthesize information, and a lot of it was done independent of me. So I was the facilitator of the learning experience, and then they were responsible for getting the knowledge and putting it all together.
Students at the Benet School have been reading the book Nim's Island, and they hosted an exhibition to show examples of deeper learning.
You can guess. Take your time and look at to see what she eats for breakfast.
So you can crackers? No crackers.
No crackers.
How about gummy bears?
Nope.
You're at the Alfred Benet School, and we are a special needs school here in Jefferson County, and we are having a project-based learning expo day.
It's about Nim on the island surrounded by water.
Nim's Island, it's about a girl who lives on the island with her father, and they go out and she
goes and hunts for food and stuff, coconuts and all that.
We have been reading the book Nim's Island by Wendy Orr, and they are up to chapter 6 in the book. It'll go all year long, and they have done projects to understand the book better and understand what the author's talking about.
It does have spikes on it.
It does?
Yep.
Oh, you got it!
Can I do it?
Yep. They have had a blast. They know how to crack a coconut now. They have made the landforms of the island, so they've actually made the landforms and know exactly where everything's located on the island. They have planted plants and can tell you why the plants will grow or not grow on the island. They have created a flotation device that was mentioned in the story with different materials.
A raft made out of sticks.
Our favorite is plankton. In the book, one of the characters studies plankton, and we have studied plankton in Kentucky.
Need water, sunlight, air.
I like this one.
It really gives a more complex look at the story, and so it's not just that there was a character that studied plankton and I kind of know what that means. Now I know exactly what plankton is. All the things that are mentioned in the story are real items. They're not just on a page in a book.
So with the sun shining down, it has to be sunny outside.
I want them to go home today excited about literature, excited about books, excited about learning, and understand that they can do everything anybody else can do, and because of their challenges, that does not limit them in any way.
More than 500 JCPS students competed in the STLP Regional Showcase. The program asked students to create a technology-based solution to a need in their communities.
Orange, blue, and push the green button. It's called the Cheddar Chase. I came up with the name, and it's kind of like an operation to help teach other kids how to code.
We are at the University of Louisville Student Activity Center. This is the STLP Regional Showcase. Over 500 kids from JCPS, kindergarten through 12th grade, representing 43 schools. It's just about project-based learning, technology, being a leader in your school.
It's telling us how you can help strays or just save them, and you can just help them with doing a lot of things. We are part of it because we wanted to make a difference in the world, and we wanted to work with technology.
This helps us in school because we got to do research, and we got to we learned how to use technology better because we made a website.
So when you take one of our QR codes, they're going to be on each of the plaques.
And QR codes and things like that.
So you get to learn all this extra information that you would never know from knowing where's their origin or birthday or any other things like that.
We're really excited about the project-based learning and the deeper learning that they're exhibiting.
It'll help them do it easier than just getting something, shoving it in their face and saying, here, code this. And it's a lot easier when children do it, to explain it to children, because it's easier to relate to children when you're looking for explanation when you're a child.
It's all student motivated, so what they're doing is they're finding a problem or something that they're interested in, and they're going from the beginning to the end, coming up with the plan, how to implement it, planning the presentation. You have really techie things where kids are taking apart computer aquaponics, which I didn't even know what that is. A lot of things supporting the community, raising money, raising awareness. If you come here and you see the awesome things that are happening, you're going to come back year after year.
Correspondent Cash Jurgen takes us to the new STEM lab at Newburgh Middle School.
Students at Newburgh Middle School have been involved in the Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math program, which exposes students to a different level of advanced learning. Students learn in a variety of ways, including robotics, real-world application, and computers. Teacher and sponsor of the program, Ronald Bertucci, gives a breakdown on how the program works.
I think the most meaningful thing about it is that we're teaching real-world skills. That's what engineering is. It's solving real-world problems using math, science, and technology, which I think is something that every kid is interested in incorporating anyway. So we look at things, like how to, for instance, make our own small autonomous vehicles using coding, and that's something that's going to be very real in our future very soon.
Newburgh's STEM program is available to high-achieving students in their respective grade levels. After school, the program takes it a step further by having a sign-up-based competitive program, which embodies the high-tech culture that the Tigers are creating. 8th grader Cameron Jones says the STEM program and the new culture affects his education in a positive way.
Because like it shows me like different skills that I could like learn and be ready and be prepared before high school starts, and like it could help me like with my jobs and stuff.
Newburgh drifted away from the MST program and rebuilt it into a full STEM program starting the 2016 and 17 school year. The results have been positive and meaningful. 8th grader Mia Seymour also participates in the STEM program.
I can do things I didn't know that I could do before.
With the help of computers and advanced robotic systems, students at Newburgh Middle are getting a head start in the job fields of the future.
It seems like Newburgh Middle School is building up something special. For our kids, I'm Fern Creek correspondent Cash Yergin.
We have more great stories about JCPS students. Stay tuned.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome to our satellite office. Some of the services that we will provide will be in 5 different departments: diversity, equity, and poverty, exceptional childhood education, student assignment, student relations, and Title I offices.
JCPS serves over 100,000 students, and with that, a lot of waste is generated.
We need to do our part to recycle because it conserves natural resources, helps the environment, and saves money.
When we recycle, we put less coal and gases into the power plant, which reduces the amount of toxins in the atmosphere.
We are JCPS and we recycle. Yeah!
Welcome back to Our Kids. I'm Ballard High School correspondent Michaela Young. At Western Middle School for the Arts, students help Lady Gaga's Born This Way Foundation collect and organize toiletries to help out the Center for Women and Families.
These are the only 2 boxes that you will use to put soap and body wash, okay?
We're at Western Middle School, and we're doing a fundraiser called Born This Way for Lady Gaga.
This is conditioner too. Where you put hairstyle?
They had supplies come in from the Gaga Foundation, and we are just organizing them and putting them into a box so we can like send them off to the Gaga Foundation.
This is an incredible day to celebrate World Kindness Day here in Louisville. An amazing way to wake up this morning. One of my biggest talking points in all the interviews I do is that kindness, when you look for it in this world, is overwhelming. And the walls and air here is filled with it, and the incredible work that these young people are doing.
We know our truth, we know where our hearts lay. We're proud of ourselves, we were born this way.
Our goal at Born This Way Foundation is to build a kinder and braver world, and we have the privilege of traveling along with the Joanne World Tour. And so in each of the communities, we try and shine a light on the incredible work that young people are doing, highlight the work of local organizations, and hopefully leave the community even kinder than it already was. And under the leadership of Mayor Fisher, it was already very kind here in Louisville today. She will tell you herself, she wants to be remembered for this work, if not more than for her music. This is truly comes from a very personal place for her, and means the world to her. So she's so excited that we're here this morning and wishes she could be here with us today.
Kindness, I think that it's easy, it's free, it takes nothing to see somebody walking down the street and smile or say hello and, you know, just wave or something. It's just being kind to someone. It can brighten their whole day.
It feels good, I guess, because you always get to do new things all the time.
I felt good because I was helping out my community, and so I knew that it was good to help out my community and also the ones that need help in our community.
Gilmore Lane Elementary partnered with the Speed Art Museum to bring artifacts to life. The students use white gloves to protect the relics.
All right, we ready to use gloves, keep our things over the mats, and be good teammates? Great.
We are in the library at Gilmore Lane Elementary School.
Stand up.
We have the art museum. It's called Art Detectives, and they bring in authentic artifacts for the kids to handle.
Each of you grab 2 gloves.
People have explained that the oils from our fingers can get on the products, so we're all wearing white gloves to protect the artifacts.
Because your hands might be slippery and you might drop one of the objects.
We have to be careful touching it because we might break it.
And if the oil gets on any of the stuff, they may like break, they may get dirty, and they may like disintegrate.
I think when they put on those gloves, they get to see how important it is to maintain the integrity of the art. I mean, and they realize that putting their hands on things that's old can destroy it. I think they even probably would appreciate antiques in their home a little bit better and handle the antiques in their home a little bit better.
All 4 of these objects have been made by people from the same group of cultures.
A lot of times when we ask them how old something is, they'll say it's in the 1980s because everything old is in the 1980s. So I think they have a deeper appreciation of history and kind of can understand.
We're checking them up like way back ago whenever they started making pots. That's a moccasin that people wear on special occasions because if you wore it every single day, it wouldn't be that clean.
You can pick things up, you can look at the bottom, you can turn them around.
And they're talking to the kids about some of the Native American culture in this area. A lot of these kids wouldn't know anything about Native American. I mean, it helps them apply history and art together.
It's made out of deer skin.
Seneca hosted their annual Career Palooza, where freshmen are able to check out the career pathways offered by the school.
So this is Career Palooza. It's for all of the 9th grade scholars at Seneca High School.
Each day, 45 of them are getting to experience each of the 8 industries that we are able to offer them experiences in as part of the academies.
So they're going to go from booth to booth, talk to the champions, our teachers who are in charge of those areas, and they're going to experience a little bit about what that area is all about. Some of our students that are currently in the programs are also sharing their knowledge and their experience.
You take them home for a weekend.
We've done a lot of prep work. They've been learning soft skills. While they're not in Career Palooza this week, they're actually learning how to write resumes. They've learned about interview questions, and they've been taught several times about the different pathways that we offer here at Seneca.
Pretty much anything you possibly could be interested in, there's an area for that at Seneca High School, which is so great because we're developing scholars into lifelong learners, helping them find motivation for further life learning. I can definitely see that they're thinking about their future and what their experience here is going to look like for the next 3 years at Seneca High School.
I think for a long time, schools and businesses have been disconnected, and I'm really excited to be able to reach out to our community partners and have them reach in for our kids to not only see examples and models of careers that they may not know exist, and for our community partners to see the great things that are happening in our schools and to help us best prepare the kinds of citizens that they need to be successful in their businesses.
Today I learned a lot more about like other programs at Seneca, and that there's a lot more opportunities than I thought there were when I first came here. It really helps me develop on what I'm going to do, and depending on what I'm going to do for my next year's career class, it'll all depend on where I'm going to be after high school.
I like the early education. I learned that they get to take these babies home, and it teaches you how to be ready to run a daycare or something like that.
I think the coolest thing was being able to see all the different potential careers you could choose. Like, even if you have a career you have in mind, you can see like all the other potential things you could go into.
So if you're interested in a career like marine biology,
Correspondent Carly Dadaming takes us to Orchestra Palooza, a collaboration between Ballard, Manual, and Eastern orchestras.
Ballard, Eastern, and Manual are fierce competitors in sports, but in a concert hall, they play in harmony. A 105 students performed on Ballard High School's Fine Arts Center stage for the annual Orchestra Palooza.
it gives the kids an opportunity to play pops music, which is a part of our regular curriculum, but it doesn't compose the whole thing. So it's really an exciting thing for the kids to get to play music that's more modern and something that they really enjoy to play. It also is a great opportunity for collaboration between the 3 directors and of the 3 orchestra programs, and then for the students get to collaborate with each other musically.
There are usually humorous things to be had that wouldn't usually be seen at traditional orchestra concerts. Funny costumes and themed music like Star Wars. Students say working with the different schools was a great experience.
Well, each of the 3 schools, Eastern, Ballard, and Manual, we each were given like a bunch of songs that we've all practiced throughout leading up to this concert. And we've had 2 practices so far, like today and 1 yesterday as well, where we met as like all 3 schools together and we practiced the 3 songs in order to prepare for this concert.
It really allows you to interact with different people that you don't know of, and then also it lets you experience playing all different types of music along with playing with different orchestras and with different conductors, because every conductor teaches and conducts differently.
Well, I've learned to like adapt to other people because I'm the only chair at my stand at Eastern, and so I have to play with a manual kid, and it's like, you know, learning to work with new people that you aren't familiar with, and it's a good experience as a musician, because you know you got to also put stuff together in a timely manner.
To get to know like other people rather than Ballard people. I like meeting new people.
Yeah, we've already made quite a few friends already, so it's fun.
I'm Ballard correspondent Carly DeDoming for Our Kids.
We have more great stories about JCPS students. Stay with us.
One, two, three.
Welcome to our satellite office. Some of the services that we will provide will be in 5 different departments: diversity, equity, and poverty, exceptional childhood education, student assignment, student relations, and Title I offices.
Welcome back to Our Kids. I'm Ballard High School correspondent Michaela Young. Students and teachers at Doss High School show us how they are incorporating project-based learning into their lessons.
Project-based learning is basically where you're learning new things in class, and then you're just basically finding a way to synthesize the learning, like a better way to digest the information you're getting.
So here and go out, you're cutting the outside.
I think it really gives the students an opportunity to be themselves and get creative with what they're learning.
Project-based learning is taking what we're learning in the classroom and making it relevant to kids' lives.
Because now I have to like communicate and like work with other people, or do things that you can't just do out of a textbook.
Very much more hands-on, very much more creating lessons, creating experiences for students and setting the stage for that, as opposed to here's a worksheet, do what I tell you to do kind of thing.
My freshman year that we were here, what we did is we just had the teacher talk to us, and then we opened up a textbook, then we learned from that. And I feel like that wasn't enough to really get us going, get our creative minds going, make sure we're really learning what we need to be learning.
Every kid was given a photo, a face photo, and they had to discuss and write journal about stereotypes that people assume of them because of where they live, what school they go to, what they look like. So they had to write these stereotypes on their faces, and then they were tasked with getting an identity box made of what really represents them, their families, their friends, their likes, their dislikes, what they really are. And all of those are hanging in our classrooms now.
You don't just take information and reciprocate it on a quiz. You actually do something with it, or you put it to a profession that you want to pursue.
things didn't really click as much as they do now, because now we're more focused on subjects like going more in depth with it. Like in one of my finance classes, we've been looking over the stocks and stuff, and we're playing a stock market game and it's like a real world scenario, and we can understand things that we can use later on in life.
We had one last year where we had to set up a presidential campaign. And it's stuff like that that gets you to internalize information that you're getting in class that you might otherwise not get.
Before project-based learning, it was all sit and get. I had kids who were disengaged, who didn't care about the content. It was strictly about a grade. But now the kids are engaged. They want to learn more. They've stopped asking me if questions are right or wrong because they're uncovering their own truths.
With this project-based learning, it gets students excited about school because they know they're going to come into class and they're actually going to get to do something more upbeat, more exciting, something different than what it used to be.
Having an opinion is great, but if you can't back it up with evidence or research how to find what the evidence is for an opinion, then their argument's not valid. So having them have an opinion and having evidence and how to find that evidence to support their argument or support their stance is really what I want them to walk away with.
And so there's no way I would ever go back. Now that I've embraced it and love it and see how powerful it is for kids, I will never go back to the way it was before.
There's definitely more energy, more people are discussing things that we go through in class. There's more debates, there's more challenging what we're learning.
Correspondent Cal Bentley introduces us to the Environmental Club at Pleasure Ridge Park High School.
If you have wondered what's up with the newly planted strip of land that's in front of the tech building in PRP, you need to look to the Environmental Club for the answers.
I think the goals of the club are awareness and actually students being able to get their hands on. It's more of a hands-on thing. The project behind us is the pollinator garden. So that is in conjunction actually with the county extension service. So the county extension neighbors actually came out and he dug it up.
These past few weeks we've been working on our garden. It doesn't look like much now, but later on we'll make it more pretty with flowers.
So the goal is to get the plants growing so we attract the pollinators, and then you can actually sort of study the pollinators. I hope to also use this in my biology and ecology classes. So I could sort of consider this an outdoor classroom.
Okay, so you know how you're in school now, what you do with your grades and stuff determines if you get into a good college or whatever. Well, what we do now with the earth and saving the environment helps prepare for our future and our environment. If this is successful, we will start growing food and donating it to charity.
I'm PRP correspondent Kyle Bentley, reporting for Our Kids.
Thanks for watching our show. We hope you enjoyed it. You can find full episodes of Our Kids on the JCPS YouTube channel. Until next time, keep supporting our kids.